But I had one more video queued up that I wanted to go over as well. So let's take a look. Let's
now discuss the latest developments in the Iran war with our guests. Joining me here in the studio in Doha is Abdullah Bandar Ali Taibi, an assistant professor of international affairs at Qatar University, and in the Iranian capital, Mustafa Kosheshem, a professor at the University of Applied Sciences in Tehran. Thank you to both of you professors for joining us on Al Jazeera. Professor Kosheshem, let me start with you in Tehran and this latest threat that's been issued by the IRGC, this ultimatum of 30 days. How should we read this, and what is the goal? I mean, what happens after 30 days if there is no deal with the Americans?
Hello, and thanks for having me again. Well, as a matter of fact, the gathering here in Tehran is that the United States is not serious about talks, and it remains adamant to any kind of offer that Iran might send. And Donald Trump insists on his maximalist demands that he wants 100% of everything. He is still talking about the very same things that he was demanding last year, before the start and after the end of the last war and this war. So he has not changed at all. The kind of literature that he's using shows that he's not serious about the talks. The equipment and the man forces that have been, transited into the region shows that they are preparing for resumption of war. So Iran believes that the United States is looking for a strategy that is recurrence of waves of war every several months or every year. So Iranians do not want that, and they want to establish durable, guaranteed peace. Therefore, they believe.
Yeah, guys, don't worry. I know my brother's coming on. That's why I just I'm playing this video, because I had a couple more things I wanted to say, but I want to save it for that.
That there should be a red line for diplomatic efforts if Donald Trump remains adamant and doesn't do anything constructive towards the talks, because the sea blockade continues, and Iran needs also to take action in order to break off this sea blockade.
Professor Ali Taibi, what's your reading of the situation? Is diplomacy making any progress at all?
Well, not really fully. I think both parties, the Americans and the Iranians, they're not actually serious about the talks. And we see them with the maximum pressure they put on each other at the moment. We see the Iranians...
Let me just go ahead and put captions on.
Submitting their 14 points to the U.S. And they just putting so much pressure on the U.S. with withdrawing troops from the region, and this is contradicting with the rights of these countries in the region to have their own relations with the U.S. and their security measures with the U.S. On the other side, you see the Americans, they want everything basically from the Iranians, and this is not actually going anywhere between the both parties. And this is actually reminds us of the talks that took place before with the deal of 2015. That's actually started almost like years and years and years of talks that were secrets between the US, Iran, and France, Germany, and the rest. I think the Iranians want to have a prolonged talks. They want to extend this as long as possible, while the Americans, I don't think President Trump wants to wait.
Okay.
He wants the deal as soon as possible. And this is where actually we are hitting a very stagnation here period between both parties.
Professor Kosheshem, Professor Ali Taibi has described some of Iran's demands there as maximalist. Can you tell us more about these key demands in these?
The biggest maximalist demand, and he'll say it in a moment, I don't mean to interject, but just to kind of give you guys the full scope. The biggest thing you always have to remember is the United States wants to talk about uranium off the bat. Iran doesn't. Iran wants a guarantee of security, and then, and only then, after they get that for an extended period of time, they will talk about enrichment in a very fine line stipulated way, according to their clause, not ours. Simultaneously, again, we are coming with that front-facingly as the first matter, as the first call to action. So that's really where the clash or the friction stems from. And so as long as that continues, that's why Donald Trump has to get into this whole, I'm going to launch Operation Freedom, we're going to protect the ships. And this is Donald Trump also trying to call Iran's bluff. But really, like I said, it just might be a rouse for Iran to strike us. Then we get back to where we want to go. And so then somebody asks, where does that lead? Look, we protect these ships. Iran strikes a U.S. vessel. We go back to war the same way it looked in March and everything else in between. Then after that, maybe we can tell them we don't want to fight anymore, but we got to talk about the uranium. This is all to pressure them to talk about the uranium as the first step, not the last. So that's the biggest thing.